Imagine this scene. You stand on an open plain surrounded by dust and chaos. There's nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. Across the field, a colossal force of 250,000 Persian soldiers assembles for battle, the largest army the ancient world has ever witnessed. At the heart of the Persian forces stands Darius III, the ruler whom armies across Asia have been taught never to challenge. His power is overwhelming, exuding an air of domination that demands submission rather than resistance. Opposing him are 47,000 Macedonians, led by a daring 25-year-old king, Alexander the Great, who has never tasted defeat but now finds himself closer to death than ever. How did an army that seemed destined for annihilation end up dismantling an empire before nightfall? By the end of this video, you'll discover how the improbable triumph occurred and why it altered the course of history forever. If you enjoy this type of history, consider subscribing. ###. One thing is clear, Alexander treated each war as if it were his last chance for victory. In 334 BCE, he crossed into Asia with just 35,000 men, not to negotiate or test the waters, but to retaliate against Persia for its invasion of Greece and to establish Macedonian dominance on the battlefield. At the Granicus River, he led a daring cavalry charge into the heart of the Persian forces, nearly losing his life when an axe split his helmet. Yet he survived, and Persia faltered. A year later at Issus, Darius himself faced him. The battlefield there was cramped, and the sheer numbers of the Persians became irrelevant. Upon spotting Darius, Alexander directly charged at him, causing the King of Kings to flee, abandoning his family, treasury, and army. Alexander didn't just emerge victorious. He shattered the very idea of authority. After Issus, the world began to change. Tyre resisted and was obliterated in a brutal 7-month siege. Meanwhile, Egypt welcomed Alexander as their pharaoh. Each of his victories followed a pattern, decisive, personal, and absolute. Yet one figure remained. Darius was still alive, still ruling the heart of the Persian Empire. This time, however, he was more prepared. ### The night before Gaugamela by 331 BCE, the stakes were higher than ever. Darius chose the battlefield carefully wide, flat, and endless, ideal for encircling his opponent. He believed Alexander's luck had finally run out and that one reckless charge would not suffice this time. Darius formulated a straightforward strategy. The chariots would break the Macedonian line, and the cavalry would crush their flanks. Once Alexander was exposed, the empire would eliminate him. In the Macedonian camp, some officers proposed launching a night attack to strike first and avoid falling into a trap, but Alexander refused. "I will not steal victory like a thief," he insisted. He wanted Darius to see him, to confront him openly in broad daylight. That night, Alexander walked the field alone, analyzing the terrain Darius trusted. He identified exactly where the Persian Empire would crumble. Living tanks meant to shatter formations before the fighting even began. In stark contrast stood Alexander's forces, 47,000 Macedonians and Greeks with no depth, no reserves, and no margin for error. With this in mind, Alexander had only one option: to move first. Unwilling to fight on unfavorable ground, Bessus attacked, launching his cavalry against the Macedonian right. The bait was accepted, and the Persian left was now fully engaged. Seeing this, Darius took his cue. 200 scythed chariots surged forward, accompanied by charging war elephants. The earth shook with their weight. But the Macedonians displayed remarkable composure. The phalanx opened lanes, allowing the chariots to race through empty corridors. Projectiles rained down, targeting the drivers as the chariots zipped past without finding a target. The elephants followed suit, suffering the same fate, panicking, and colliding into gaps where the phalanx quickly closed ranks. Darius's gamble collapsed in mere moments. Meanwhile, on the other flank, Mazaeus unleashed his cavalry at Parmenion, who fought valiantly to hold the line. Observing the chaos unfold, Darius commanded a massive infantry charge, tens of thousands surging forward, a wall of shields and spears aimed directly at the Macedonian center. At that moment, the Persian army was fully committed, every reserve engaged. This decision would cost Darius everything. With Bessus locked in combat and reinforcements pulled from the center, a weakness emerged, a frayed section of the Persian left center, where disorder had taken hold and where the king now stood exposed. Alexander saw it instantly. Rallying a spearhead of companion cavalry, he wheeled left and charged not at the army, but directly at the king. The wedge crashed into the Persian center, bringing the battle right to Darius's door. Alexander sliced through guards, advancing step by step. Darius, increasingly agitated, prepared to defend himself. Then, in a moment of panic, he broke. For the second time, the King of Kings turned his chariot and fled. In that instant, as Darius abandoned his men, the Persian center began to disintegrate, orders ceased. Units disengaged, transforming an empire into a chaotic mob. Bessus retreated. The rest of the Persian forces dissolved. Seizing the opportunity, Alexander pursued, but news soon reached him. Parmenion was in peril. Mazaeus, still unaware that Darius had fled, was close to breaking the Macedonian line. In a rare but strategic decision, Alexander turned back. He reinforced Parmenion and stabilized the flank, and only then did the battle truly conclude. Darius escaped, but his empire would not. Aftermath of Gaugamela, the Battle of Gaugamela concluded, and with it, the Persian Empire lost its center of gravity. Before this day, Persia was still a formidable superpower, its satraps commanding armies and its cities controlling wealth, manpower, and strategic routes. Darius, despite his flaws, remained king, but after Gaugamela, everything unraveled. Babylon opened its gates, Susa surrendered its treasury, and Persepolis was set ablaze. Alexander didn't conquer Persia city by city, he shattered its command structure in a single afternoon. Yet the war was not over. Darius still lived. As long as he remained at large, the potential for resistance persisted. So Alexander pressed eastward in pursuit of land, but seeking legitimacy. This quest led him into the mountains. In 330 BCE, a Persian force made its final stand at a location designed for what Gaugamela could not provide, a decisive halt to Alexander's advance. This was the Battle of the Persian Gate, where the empire's last hope would lie in ambush, and where Alexander would come closer to defeat than at any other point in his campaign. Stay tuned to explore the gripping events that unfolded during the Battle of the Persian Gate.